Henshin a go baby. What's good, guys? Yoku here, and I know I'm a little late, but today was a weird day. All right, I kind of just stayed in bed all day. Regardless, we had the version 2.0 live stream. Version 2's live stream was kind of nice. I mean, like really nice. Right off the bat, we had them introduce this live stream in a fantastic way. The marketing team has been pushing the boundaries with memes and anime references for the last few patches, and the way they blended this into the ways real life was slick. And did y'all see that trailer? Dog, that was, I apologize for not reacting to the trailer for y'all, but listen, I wasn't waking up at 5, 4, 6 a.m. in order to watch this, turn on stream, and then kick it with y'all. As much as I would like to, I don't have it in me. All right, I just, something about waking up that early and I don't have to go to work anymore. I don't do that no more. Okay, one of these days we'll get fit, we'll get healthy. I'll be on that 3 a.m. wake up diet like Gotcha Smack, and we'll be cooling. But I'm not there yet. From that trailer, though, we can actually talk about the story, which is leading up to be their best delivery yet. And honestly, I can't say I'm surprised. The Xianzhao Lofu, all right, was a little weak. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it wasn't weak because of the actual story. I mean, maybe it was weak because of the story, but you can tell me in the comments down below. I don't know. To me, it wasn't that weak. In fact, I thought the story was okay. It wasn't as strong as Belobog. I'm definitely keeping it a buck. It wasn't as strong as Belobog, but I feel like Lofu was just weak because of how little of the story we received in comparison to Belobog at that point in time. And I don't mean like quest, right? I know somebody's like, oh man, we got tons of quests and tons of side of it. That's not what I'm talking about, brother or sister, if you happen to be that. What I'm talking about here is the volume and storytelling within those quests. It's really weird, but looking at Penacony, this looks amazing. I've been talking about this for a few videos now since we've gotten like the whole Penacony trailer, and we've been talking about that, and I'm still on the whole We Happy Few vibes for this game. And I think even DeWay is catching on to some of the stuff, because there was a point in time during the live stream where Mr. DeWay was asking, he was very skeptical of what Mr. Shaoji is telling us about the story of Penacony being so happy and like, oh yeah, happy-go-lucky dreamland, no one's gonna die, whatever. But if you guys know who this person is, Mr. Shaoji, and I'm also learning this, but Mr. Shaoji is the person that wrote, I won't spoil nobody, but he wrote chapter 9. That's the chapter, right? Chapter 9 of Honkai Impact 3rd. He also wrote the, what's the Elysian Realm, which is a beautiful story, mind you. I've seen that one. Elysian Realm story, both of them. So he's pretty infamous for dropping some type of story or whatever and be like, yeah, this is great. Awesome. There's a meme, if I'm not mistaken. There's a meme that he has for himself, like for his story. This is a wholesome story. And it's not wholesome at all. I'm already calling it. A lot of people are calling it. Penacony, we're gonna see somebody get clapped. There's rumors, there's think pieces and theory videos leading up to like more than two people are getting clapped in Penacony, like main characters. I don't know who it's gonna be. I'm really hoping it's not chapter 9 again. I don't want that. I do not want another chapter 9. I don't want anyone to get clapped. Like we already had, bro, stop. We already had Ting Yun. I still don't know if she's permadead or not. Like, I don't know. I'm in denial. All right. I'm believing that she's not dead yet, even though I heard the snap. You know, I heard it. That shit heard it. All of that is going to lead us into what will be probably the best patch for Honkai Star, at least for this year. Speaking of Dreamland, we can also talk about the world. The world looks amazing. The part where you run up the wall and it changes, that's so cool. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. It gave me complete Persona vibes. And yes, not every JRPG is like Persona, but I'm currently replaying through Persona 5 so that I could build myself up in the mood for Persona 3, because when 3 gets here, you won't see me. When Reload drops, the only place you'll see me is you might see me on stream. And the moment somebody spoils me or the chat gets too hectic, you're just gonna see that big old Twitch screen where bloop, 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 this broadcast is going through whatever troubles. It's just gonna be over, dog. I am a huge Persona fan, and I've played tons of JRPGs, so I know a lot about them. I know a lot of other JRPGs and whatnot. And I could easily compare this to Grandia 2 or even Grandia 3. But I don't want to do that. Shout outs to those that know what Grandia is, by the way, one of my favorite series. But the actual exploration that we're seeing within Star Rail, what they showed off in the trailer, or what they showed off in the live stream, is becoming more and more JRPG-like with each patch or with each story. Every time they drop a new event, it's got some JRPG element vibes to it, or some RPG element vibes to it. Every time they drop some new patch with the story, whatever the case may be, there's so much packed into this that is very akin to Persona. And again, for me, I love it. People that don't like Persona, which I honestly have not met anyone that doesn't like Persona at this point. Well, I guess maybe you don't know if you like Persona or not, to be honest, because you've only played 5. So technically you don't know if you like Persona for real. You just like 5 because everybody else likes 5. But I don't want to speak for you. I'm just saying what I've gathered the information off of, because people that play 5, I love Persona. Oh, cool. What's your favorite Persona? 5. What's your second favorite Persona? Royale. And I'm like, all right, you didn't really play Persona, but it's cool. I'm not gatekeeping. I want everybody to enjoy Persona. Grab Reload. This is not sponsored. I know it's a gacha game, but I seriously want more of this. I really want more RPG elements into the game. As much as I love the combat, I like the implications that the team building is going to go over, which, by the way, we're gonna round off with the team building stuff that I want to talk about before the next video. And then with all that in mind, the story, right? The story is something I'm just I'm kind of itching for it at this point, because now I just want to play it. I want to watch these the videos about the story, who's doing what leads into what, the little tidbits that they're dropping, all the different books that are in the game. I'm not reading all that. One day I might, but I'm not reading all that. There's so many books in the game that actually tell you more of the story, and I feel like those books go unrecognized, even though they shouldn't. To cap this part off though, the new Sombras boss, the thing with the it looks like a fucking Yu-Gi-Oh monster, right? With the claws and then the hooks, and it kills you, but you're not dead, you're asleep, but you're dead if you stay asleep. Dude, that concept alone, fire. I love it. I want more of that. I want more enemies like that, more unique enemies that have these, I don't want to call them one-shot kills, even though they are pretty much, one-touch kills. I don't want to say that, but because there's a way that you can get out of it, but I want more of that, but harder. I want it more extreme. I think it's what, one level he goes, his eyes glow, and then the second level his eyes glow, and the third, once he gets to 3 eyes, then he does the scoop attack. And if you let him do it again, he can grab multiple. And if you let him do it again, then he'll grab the whole team. It doubles. So it goes from 1, 2, 4, and then you're dead. So if you let him do it that third time, it's a wrap. It's over. So you are on a time limit with this boss, which is probably going to be one of two things. So we can talk about it for a bit. One, if they put this boss in MOC, and any MOC whatsoever, it is automatically going to be a timed function, regardless of whatever you thought your cycle clear was. I want more of that. I feel like 9 is way too long. If they reduce this to 4, like after the third turn, right? Third cycle, whatever, he's guaranteed scooping up the entire team, or the fourth cycle scooping up the entire team. I know that sounds crazy. I know it does, especially for like my free-to-play players, or like players that are just not ready for that. I hear you. I'm not saying this because like, oh yeah, EO wants to be a dick to free to play. No, that's not what it is at all. I like interesting mechanics in my RPGs. That's all it is. When a boss has something that's very stupid but strong, and there's definitely ways to beat it, but it forces me to think about like, okay, how could I cheese this boss? How could I get around this? There has to be something in the game that allows me to nullify what they're able to do. Maybe shields, right? Maybe he can't scoop you through the shield. That'd be a crazy thing. I don't think it exists, but maybe that would be the case, right? Things like that I really love about RPGs. So I'm hoping that's the case. Next up, we have the characters, which for some reason they super sped through the characters kits, and that was super unfortunate. I don't know why I said super twice, but it was unfortunate. I didn't really like that, but I have enough information to do my theory crafting, so it is what it is. Let's talk about Black Swan, who doesn't really need Kafka per se, but you are going to be doing 50 times more work if you don't have her. Black Swan is very strong. From what I could see about this character, being able to use Arcana and the stacks, it's clear as day that those stacks are, stacks, and they're going to stack up to a certain amount, and then the more stacks will give you more effects or more power. Black Swan, as of right now, from what I can gather from this trailer, or from this live stream, Black Swan's gonna be one of those characters of one of two things. One, she's gonna be the DPS character for Kafka, but Kafka is going to have to constantly trigger these Arcana stacks to cards, which tells me that I would want a very fast Kafka to be able to proc each of these dots as often as possible to get a lot of damage. Two, it means that I would probably want the reverse, which in this case would be Mei, so where I can delay the enemy so much they don't actually take their turn, which means the stacks constantly stick. Problem with that is if the stacks go away, which I'm assuming they do, the stacks would go away whenever they trigger on the enemy, right? So like, oh yeah, you triggered stacks and now it resets, or the enemy takes their turn, the stacks go big boom and now it resets, something like that. And that could also be a problem in itself too, because in order to balance out a character like this, they would probably do something where like the DOT damage itself is pretty weak in comparison to everyone else. Granted, Windshear by itself is already weak unless you can stack it up, and she's not Sampo, which means you can't do the skill and then stack up 5 or 6 different wind shears on the one enemy, or you can't do basic attack and then stack up 5 or 6 wind shears on the one enemy. Maybe if Arcana counts as wind shear and it counts the exact same way that wind shear would do, then maybe you could trigger that with Kafka, for instance, and then you have a bunch of DOT popping off and that might circumvent it. But if it doesn't count that way, and it's more along the lines of like the Arcana stacks or like the big boom that's going to happen, if the big boom is what is required to happen, which means the enemy has to take their turn, now I'm starting to think that Mei might be counterintuitive to Kafka and Black Swan. Again, this is just me thinking out loud. I don't think this as a permanent thought. I'm just thinking based off what they showed us in the live stream, because they were bare bones as hell with the information they showed us. Now, if I'm doing my real boy stuff, I don't want to say it, but I think I might end up getting disappointed by Black Swan. I hope that's not the case. I really hope that's not the case. But I think if I can't figure her out in time, I might end up getting disappointed by Black Swan, because then it's gonna get to the whole like, well, you have E4 sample. Why wouldn't you just use E4 sample? Blah, 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 blah. And we'll see whenever it happens. Moving on, though, we can talk about Sparkle. Sparkle is not the next Bronya. Stop saying that. Brax, I hate you. I don't hate you, bro. We're cool. Why did you title your video that way? It's good. It's a great title. I love the title, but like, holy fuck, damn. Now you got more people talking about she's the next Bronya. She's not. She's not the next Bronya. She can't. Let's say that she's half a Bronya, if you catch my drift, right? And she gonna be a busted unit. Absolutely. Because all Harmony characters just seem to be busted as hell. But I don't think she's the next Bronya. I think Bronya is, honestly, Bronya is probably a mistake. And that doesn't, it's not really a bad thing to say that. I think Bronya being a mistake is kind of like the Bennett and Xing Shui thing from, oh wait, that's not his name. What's his name? Fuck, I've been playing Star Rail so long, I don't remember how to pronounce his name. The water boy with the swords from Genshin Impact. Him, and then Shine Ling, all of them, right? The original 4-star roster from Genshin Impact. I feel like this is where that's leading to. That's what I mean by mistake, by the way. Bronya is one of them, where they made this character who is busted as hell, but they didn't really think about how busted this character was actually gonna be, even though anything manipulating time is gonna be busted, but whatever. Point being is that it exists. So when you have a character like Bronya, it's very hard to replace or become better than Bronya unless you do the exact same thing that she does and more. And I don't think, based off what we saw from the live stream, I don't think Sparkle's doing that, which is a little unfortunate, but I do think Sparkle's gonna find her own little niche. Last, we have Misha, which Misha is one of those characters where you instantly ask yourself, why would I build Misha, or what is Misha's purpose if it's an ice destruction character, or he is an ice destruction character, and we have Jing Liu already? Why would I do that, right? Well, what's the point of investment in that? And to my understanding of how this character functions, or rather what they teased about this character is probably going to be one of those things that fit under a sub DPS or main DPS role, right? Where you can do both. And that's totally cool. I know a lot of y'all don't build for sub DPSs or dual DPS type of teams, but again, I'll talk about that like really, we'll talk about it now, I guess. I think the same thing that I said in my last video, we are moving away from the current meta that we have. 2.0 is going to introduce us into something completely different. We aren't going to only have hypercarry, dual DPS, dot, whatever. We're going to start moving into very specific teams. And it's not going to be just run hypercarry anymore. Like, obviously you can do that. I'm not saying like, oh yeah, down with hypercarry. Like, no. And I'm not saying like dual DPS prevails. No. I mean, very like team specific. This team performs this way, just like how Genshin Impact has it, where they have the what is it called, Raiden National or Child National, those type of teams, right? Where it's like it's a universal team, but you replace the DPS characters on the team. But because the supporting characters are so freaking strong, they have like national. It works on everybody. That's probably going to be the case with Ting Yun, and maybe Pela, Team National. I don't know what you would call that, but it is what it is. And then from there, you would also have things like Topaz and Dr. Ratio, which isn't just dual DPS, right? You could turn this into, okay, this is the Dr. Topaz team. And actually that's kind of really fucking fire. Or Ratio and Number, Dr. Numby. Yo, Dr. Numby. All right, chill. I kind of like that name, but you now have the Dr. Numby team, right? Where it consists of Dr. Ratio and Topaz, and then the other two supporting units are going to be able to help focus on that specific thing. And then of course, once we get a particular character, I won't say who, but they're coming in 2.0. Once we get a particular character, that shoots up Topaz tremendously, because exactly what I said was going to happen is happening. Topaz, and you can go check any of my other Topaz videos, there's like 5 of them. I am the Topaz main on YouTube as a creator. There's like 5 of them. Topaz, I said, once she gets a supporting character, whether that be sustain, harmony, or nihility unit that does follow-up attacks, like just like how Kafka does with the gun, once Topaz gets something like that, that will immediately push Topaz into top 3 team territory, top 3 DPS character territory, because now you have 3 different ways to get Numby to constantly go. And you only need 2 to make Numby go at least once outside of his own cycle. Numby will always go once on his own, and then you can influence that by bringing him up again with the 2 follow-up attacks. Now, Topaz being fast enough can go twice, which means Topaz can always bring him up on her own twice. Then you have someone like Dr. Ratio who has his own follow-up attacks, and he's going fast enough twice, which means now you have Numby going 3 times in one cycle. add another follow-up attacking character to that unit, and depending on how fast or slow they go, you can now influence another Numby cycle or another Numby spin ball within that same cycle. Numby is already cracking a bunch of damage as it is, or a decent amount of damage, I should say. So if you're able to get him to go along with the other two DPS characters on your team, and Ratio is already killing things. Ratio blows up the entire board, not the entire board. Ratio blows up the main damage or the main enemy by himself. Doing the Ratio and Topaz combo deletes enemies. Like, what is it? Kafka has the highest HP or something like that, or Cocolia, whatever it is. Ratio Numby combo deletes it entirely. You do the ult, you do you do Topaz, then Numby comes out, then Ratio follows up, then you do Numby, then you do Topaz, then you finish off with Ratio. I'm like, oh my god, they're dead. They're gone. It is what it is. So we're going to move into stuff like that. Relating this back to Misha though, Misha, I think, will perform as a lesser Jing Liu with his own niche. I don't mean that he'll have the same damage output and be able to do it as fast. What I mean by that is Misha, if I'm not mistaken, they said Misha has CC, right? His technique was able to like freeze time or something like that, so they couldn't go anywhere. And him being an ice character, I'm going to assume that insinuates that he could also freeze characters. So if Misha is going to be the third character that we can freeze on command, you have Yangxing, you have Japard. Technically you have March 7th, but I don't like to count her ultimate because it's, you know, it's a costly thing to do. So you can't really do it on command when you want it to happen. If Misha is similar to Yangxing and Japard, where you have an opportunity to freeze every time you skill or basic attack, then now you include a third character who has a freezing CC. And freeze is very strong in this game. It's just not super utilized because of the characters that we have to actually use it. If Misha turns into a CC monster and now implements freezing into your team, you can now get rid of the idea of a hyper carry or a dual DPS, whatever. Obviously they'll still perform as a dual DPS because you want her to do damage, but now you can turn this into, I need Misha specifically to freeze. I need you to freeze this enemy at this time, here and win, while doing damage so that I could bully the enemy. Then Yangxing boost up. Yangxing goes up. If Misha does what I think he does, Yangxing goes up by default. Maybe not a lot, but Yangxing will still go up by default, at least within that same realm. We'll see though. This is all speculative theory, right? Last thing I want to talk about is the rerun banners, right? We do this all the time where I talk to you guys about the rerun and the value of the rerun banners. The rerun banners, if you guys missed out on these rerun characters, y'all are fucked. I don't say that in a like, ah man, free to play sucks, right? Like, nah, I don't mean that. I mean, genuinely, you might actually be fucked. You have Imbiber Lune and you have Jing Yuan. If you are getting Lune, that means one of two things. Both of these things mean one of two things. You have to make a decision between Imbiber Lune or Black Swan, right? Or it's going to be Lune or Sparkle, whichever they decide to do. But since they showed it in the order of the first, I'm going to go with Lune is going to be on Black Swan's banner. You have to make a decision between those two, which means you are a diehard Lune fan. That one's not as bad. You could get away with not playing DOT, right? Some people just don't like DOT. You don't have Kafka. You missed out on Lune. You missed out on a very powerful DPS unit. You want to pick up Lune and his light cone, possibly. You could do that, and that's totally fine. If they put him on the same banner as Sparkle, or if you pull Lune and then you go for Sparkle, you don't have any Jades unless you knew this was going to happen, which none of us knew this was going to happen. There were some speculations, I think, of people saying that he's going to be on the Chinese New Year, but the dreams from Penacony Island, right, from Penacony Dreamland, those didn't say Lune. They said Luocha, and we don't see Luocha, which means now that's even more of a problem, because now you have to decide, if I do want Luocha, he has to come on Adventurine's banner, which is the safest bet, unless you have Topaz, or he has to come on Acheron's banner, which is not the safest bet. If you pick Luocha over Acheron, you might be cucking yourself. But again, all speculative theory. Going into Jing Yuan has to fall on Sparkle's banner. If Jing Yuan over Sparkle, you gotta really like Jing Yuan. But most Jing Yuan players are pining for Sparkle. They want Sparkle. So now you're gonna see yourself saying, or rather reading on like the Jing Yuan mains thread, you need both. Oh man, I gotta get both. I don't have enough for that. Oh, now you gotta pick Jing Yuan or Sparkle. Who's on your account? Blah, 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 blah. All that kind of stuff. If for whatever reason Jing Yuan is on the same banner as Black Swan, little easier, but then now you put yourself in a bad position for people that want Lune and Sparkle. So it comes down to managing your Jades, how many Jades you have, what you can and can't do, and all that kind of stuff. Thankfully, we're getting 20 free pulls. Big shout outs. Genshin Impact can never. Did y'all see that going around? I don't know if it was fake or not, but if Sorrow really did say that in the live stream, that's funny as hell. We are getting some crazy good quality of life improvements in 2.0 that we as a community asked for, and then some, honestly, I didn't even know I needed, but I need them now. The Fate Atlas system, absolutely. Yes, hands down, free. There's more supports now to help gain even more money. We can pin friends and characters to the top to help us clear out waves faster or use the supports faster. And then of course, we're having a huge relic system overhaul that's going to give us the ability to exclude certain stats that we're looking for as substats. We're going to be able to include stats. We're going to be able to pick and choose different pages. We're going to be able to do a lot with the new relic system overhaul that I think is going to be great. The only thing better, and I'm hoping they do this in the next patch, is literally just giving us relic loadouts, like being able to equip these characters like, hey, look, we see the recommended is blank. Let me go ahead and make a loadout for blank. And then fuck it, give us like a stock of, I don't know, 8, right? Stake a stock of 8 loadouts that we could use. That way all of our characters are always ready to go for this, that, and the third. And we can just swap out which loadouts do what. That would be perfect, but maybe not 8. I really want more, but you know, giving us more options is probably going to be a little bit more work. We don't really need that. And that's going to be it. That's all I have for you guys today. I wanted to wrap this up with a lot of my thoughts and opinions on everything. You guys see that I rambled and talked about some stuff, but I learned from the last time I did one of these, and you guys really, some of y'all really like the hour-long, like I dropped the whole reaction to the stream. A lot of y'all love that. Some of y'all don't. And some of y'all that don't turned out to be a lot, because it didn't really go where it was supposed to go as far as like YouTube was concerned. Regardless, have fun, do your thing. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on 2.0. I think Penacony is actually going to be the best patch that we've seen in a long time, at least for this year. I don't even want to claim this year because there's so many more things they could do in the game that could impress me. But as of right now, this is a banger way to start off the year. Penacony 2.0, bro. Star Rail 2.0. Version 2.0 with the Penacony. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I can't say my outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Smell you later.